Hello everyone, welcome back to another DevLog. Today's episode is all about optimization. Basically, me fixing all the mistakes I made, pretending I knew what I was doing. Optimizations are that thing you swear you'll handle later, and then later becomes now, because suddenly your GPU is throwing tantrums, and your game is now a slideshow. Let's kick things off with the vehicles. These are a mix of vehicles I modeled a while ago, but I made a rookie mistake. Each vehicle had separate parts windows, wheels, headlights, etc. And all of these were separate components that I needed to combine. It was like assembling IKEA furniture with Elmer's glue. When imported into Unreal Engine, each part required its own material when rendering, affecting the performance due to the massive number of draw calls. Think of draw calls as text messages from the CPU to the GPU. These vehicles were basically spam bots. Rendered this wheel, oh and this window, oh and another wheel. It was like giving the GPU a to-do list with cry as step 1. Take this car as an example. It has 11 components and materials. Now that's just horrible, especially since spawning multiple of these vehicles at once would result in a huge number of draw calls. To fix this, I've combined all these parts into a single mesh, UV unwrapped it, and textured it. Now I have a single texture that represents this car, which means I've condensed 11 materials into a single one. I also created texture masks. The mask replaces the primary and secondary colors with red and green, while leaving everything else black. This allows me to dynamically recolor the car programmatically by targeting the red and green areas. And to take things another step further, I've created a 1D texture as a color palette. This lets me randomly pick a color from the palette and assign it to the car. I've then repeated this exact process for the rest of the vehicles, and now each vehicle uses a single material, significantly reducing the total number of draw calls. Here's a before and after comparison. Just look at the difference in the draw call count. Now let's talk about LODs, short for level of detail. This is a common optimization technique where objects far away from the player are rendered with less detail to save memory and processing power. Picture a Christmas tree that's super fancy up close with all the decorations, lights, presents, yada yada yada, but then turns into a green blob when it's far away. That's basically the idea behind LODs. You don't need to see the details when the things are far away. In my game, I've applied this to the terrain chunks. As Froggy moves, nearby chunks load in higher detail, while the distant ones switch to the simpler meshes. Here's how it looks in wireframe mode. You can see how the high LOD chunks have intricate geometry, while the low LOD chunks are much more simpler. And of course, there were a lot of hiccups when trying to get this to work. I realized the low LOD chunks were so plain they made cardboard look more exciting. So I jazzed them up a bit with a few textures, and now they look like this. I also tweaked nature elements such as trees, rocks, and flowers. They now disappear when they're far enough from the player. This is called render culling, which improves performance by hiding objects that the player can't see or doesn't need to see clearly. It's a simple but effective way to reduce the workload on the GPU and is a common trick used by several games. I would say these optimizations are a great start, but let's be real, I'm probably going to look back on this in a month and cringe. Like, there's still a lot more room for improvement. And that's a wrap for this devlog. If you're still here, congrats! You officially know more about game optimizations than I did a few months ago. Honestly, I think I've earned a break from optimizations because, let's face it, they're a huge pain in the ass. Coming up, I'll be shifting gears to something way more fun. Enemies. Expect videos on their design, animation, AI, and of course, the bugs that will follow. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later.